Hey Laura, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. And how are you?
I'm good. I'm so good. I'm really excited to be chatting to you because you are the creator of multiple conscious life events. In particular, one that we're having here on the Sunshine Coast in a few weeks called the Conscious Life Holistic Wellness Festival. Is that correct?
Yes, that's a bit of a mouthful, but
I
yes, it's
know.
now I've added a little bit to it from the original Conscious Life Festival. We've gone to the holistic and wellness. It's a bit of a mouthful.
Beautiful. And I was actually sharing with you before we hit record that I was actually one of the presenters or stall holders
Yeah.
when I very started my business way back when, and you actually remembered.
Yes.
And I also wanted to just start by asking you what inspired you to create these kind of events.
Yeah. Well, my life wasn't always this. I started up actually just coming up to 10 years now. In the next couple of weeks, we celebrate 10 years. 2011. I never imagined, if I look back on my life like 20 years, 15 years ago, I would never imagine that I would be sitting here now doing this because my life was all in architecture and design in the UK.
Wow.
So I went to university and got a degree in interior architecture. And that was my dream and my passion. And I worked in architects, etc. And I emigrated in 2008 with my husband and my eldest son at the time, and working in design. And basically, from the moment we emigrated here, there was things that started, life situations and circumstances that started happening to me. Um, and it kind of panned over like 2-3 year period of we won't say positive things, but very challenging things happening in my life. And pretty much overnight, the last thing really was the death of my mum at 58 from bowel cancer. And from her death, I had this kind of huge awakening. Through my whole childhood, I felt really different. I was called a know-it-all at school because I just knew things. I thought everybody knew things until I was in my 20s and I realised it was what we called intuition. And I had a fascination of spirituality, like crystals and astrology, and I used to get my dad to take me to the psychic fairs. I was a bit of a black sheep of the family, although my mum loved crystals and she was very in tune herself and had a lot of experiences, but I wasn't kind of brought up in family that was, we were very open, but it was just something that was quite natural to me. So I was always, dabbled and had a real interest in lots of different things. But so I suppose the death of my mum was the catalyst for my huge awakening. And what I experienced really, even though I was grieving badly for my mum, and she was in England, so I never really, I'd moved. I went back when she was diagnosed with cancer and spent 10 months in England, but I had my newborn baby who also had medical issues as well. So it was a bit of a tough. I won't go into all the life things. There's quite a few things that happened to me during that 2-3 years. But she passed away basically, and I was still here and I didn't make it. But when I got back to Australia after the funeral, it was like, the way I can describe it is, my whole life I kind of was looking for something. Even though I achieved a first class degree, which is the best you can get, I had disposable income. I had 2 houses. I had a great job. I could go on holiday anywhere in the world. I had money, clothes, social life. I had everything. But there was always something that was missing, and I didn't understand. I was always looking ahead in the future and planning ahead rather than being in the now. And I think it was because I knew, or my soul knew, that there was more to my life. And I knew there was something, but I didn't know what it was. And maybe that's why I was brought to Australia. Maybe that's why I emigrated, because I was searching. Because we never knew anyone here. We had no family, no friends. We literally gave up all of that to come here, which is another story. when my mum passed away, what I can describe as like this heaviness around my shoulders kind of released. I felt really light, even though I'd lost my mum and I was grieving. There was this like release and this lightness that I felt in my body, and I didn't understand it, and I felt guilty because I was starting to feel really happy and content, even though I was grieving from the death of my mum. But it was like I was being guided to get all these books. I was buying all these books, and I was being told it was like my gifts had kind of expanded. Since it was like almost like a soul contract that she would pass, and my journey would begin, which it literally did. And it was like my gifts like elevated, and the intuition was like, and I started like, it's like the mediumship skills as well. And it was like, oh my God, what's happening to me? But then, so I felt this kind of lightness, and I felt really excited. And my husband, ex-husband, he didn't understand what was going on with me, because I was like following around the house, going like with these books, going, oh my God, life makes sense. Everything makes sense. Even though I didn't know what I was saying, it kind of did. It was a really strange experience. And yeah, he didn't know. I think he thought I was going to be doolally because of the death of my mum. And then I started getting awarenesses that I had to basically bring people together, like-minded people, because it was like this journey. I just found I want to be around other people like this. So I started putting notices around Pridging Beach. I lived in Pridging for 13 years. And I started putting notices on the notice board, and I started getting phone calls of people saying, I've seen your notice. And all it was to come together in the coffee shop and just to meet. And all of a sudden, all these people came out of the woodwork. And then that quite evolved, and the people coming from everywhere. And I started thinking, oh, this is great. Why don't I start exposing people with their businesses and giving them like a 10-minute slot at these coffee shops to start talking about what they do? And that evolved very, very quickly. And then I started hiring Pridging Beach Community House, and I started doing it officially. And then I had the idea very quickly to put on an expo. And within 3 months, I put my first expo on, which was September. So I set up in the May, and by September, I'd set up my first expo, which was really, it was only small, but it was really successful very quickly. And then after that one, I knew that it was going to be big. And I've done one 6 months later, and we actually increased the size and then moved to a venue. And, it just evolved very, very quickly out of the blue. I was designing still, and I was consulting. I had my own business as a designer. So I was doing both. At that time, my ex-husband didn't understand what I was doing, and like scratching his head and saying, why are you giving up an awesome, well-paid job to do something you're not getting paid for? And he didn't understand. I was like, this feels so good. It just feels right. Just being around people. And at the time, 10 years ago, there was a small community here, a spiritual community and like-minded people. But I mean, over the 10 years, the amount of people that have moved to the coast, but from other states, and I'd get phone calls saying, oh, I've been told to call you, Laura, you're the person to speak to. I said, let me guess, you move into the coast? Yes, how do you know? I'm like, yeah, I get lots of phone calls. So I've seen a huge change in 10 years, and it's just amazing how this coast, this region has just evolved into the special place it is, and I've been told, a couple of years ago that we're now the spiritual capital of Australia. And even Byron, people are moving out and coming up here. And I know at least 2 people in the last couple of months that I've met that have moved up here. So very quickly, it was actually called originally Higher Visions. And then I rebranded probably 2 years after that to Conscious Life Events. And I sat with the name, asking for the name to come in. And it was about 2 weeks it came in. I went, oh, it feels so good. Conscious. I mean, it's very simple words, but it kind of captures what it is, Conscious Life Event.
So tell me, what is conscious living for someone that's listening and watching that perhaps doesn't understand what conscious living means?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's a good question, because like you could ask probably 10 people and they'd come up with a different answer to that. To me, like, if I want to have chocolate, I'll eat chocolate. If I want to have a glass of wine, I'll have a glass of wine. It's not about being, or I'm not a vegan. I love vegan food. I love vegetarian food, but I don't follow that diet. So conscious to me is to being aware, and to listen to your body, and to live as truthfully as you can. You know, and I try to. You know, we're human beings at the end of the day. We're not perfect, and we learn. You know, by different experiences and challenges, etc. And the way I live consciously is by listening, and I feel it in my heart. That's how I feel things. I get awarenesses, and I act most of the time upon my awarenesses. And I think the more you do that, the more you trust, especially with my journey over the years, where I used to ignore things and force other situations to happen that haven't worked. So now I listen to it and everything kind of works out. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. And I go with it, and you know, everything flows that way. I do go to the gym. I try to go to the gym 3 times a week. I walk my dog. I try and keep, I feel that fitness and health is important to me. I try and drink lots of water. I try and eat clean food and eat healthy. I sit, when I say I meditate, I don't really meditate. What I do is I sit in my own space and try and do that every day. And I work with energy, and I visualize a lot and manifest. And I do that. And I suppose I'm quite good at that. Yeah.
So you've been doing this for nearly 10 years now.
Mm.
So how has it evolved, and why does it still feel so necessary to host these events?
Yeah, because I have seen an influx of people waking up. So my huge awakening, obviously I was awake slightly before, but my huge awakening was 2011. And from a lot of people I've spoken to, a lot of people kind of had the same kind of awakening during that time. But over the years, I've seen an influx of people questioning much more about life. A lot of people experience a lot of challenges and trauma and grief. And I think at those times, especially for me, what I experienced, it was a catalyst for me to question a lot and understanding that there is more to life. So, excuse me. I know that, especially on the coast, we're saturated with yoga studios and fitness and juice bars. I mean, being even living here, it's in front of your face. So people are really like, you can't escape from it. So, you know, so the events are definitely needed. There's so many people that are looking for more, you know, of a better way of life, you know, alternatives to Western medicine. You know, with the whole holistic alternative therapies, mindfulness and self-development is like, I know health and well-being is the fastest growing industry in the world, you know, so of course these events are really needed. But I try and, like I was talking to you before we were recording, telling you that I have to be stimulated, and I'm always looking for new projects, because I feel that we evolve, but I have to make sure the events evolve with it. So I used to run guest speaker events every month for years, and they were really successful. They're awesome. But I had the awareness I had to stop them to allow new things to come in. I was just saying to you that when I listened to that, within a couple of weeks, Ina Segal, the author of Secret Language of Your Body, contacted me out of the blue and said, look, are you interested in managing me? And then I started running their events around Australia for 3 years. So, you know, so I like to change up my events and offer the public different things. So we've got the Conscious Life Festival, which runs every year. I've just started a new series of events called the Arise series, which are quarterly events, which promote freedom and independence, pro-choice. So it's we kind of, yeah, that's that kind of angle of things. So trying to offer lots of different events to suit a wide range of people, you know.
I love it. I've attended Conscious Life not only as a presenter but as a participant with my family when my girls were young. So I'm thinking about 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And my kids loved it. They, you know, my husband, who would not consider himself to be a spiritual person, came with an open heart and an open mind, and he enjoyed himself. And so I think it's a festival that can be for anyone if you just have an open heart and an open mind and just come in and explore like you would any other festival, and just because it's varied in the types of people that are there, isn't it? So do you want to share with us what people can actually expect to experience?
Yeah, and just going on from that about your husband, which is amazing. Over the years, what I've seen is the husband behind the wife being dragged, but then you see them like an hour later and they're completely different. Like, and I it's not like it actually, like you said, it's open to so many different people that are already on their journeys, people that are actually dabbling and wanting to know a bit more about holistic alternative therapies. It is a family-friendly event, so we do run. We do a cater for the kids, so we've got a kids tent and we have things going on for them, with the music, etc. It's a very grounded grassroots event for everybody. And another thing to add is, over the years, because I'm really into my marketing and really get feedback from the attendees, and what I've noticed is the amount of percentage of male participants have increased, and it's just awesome to see the increase of men coming through, which is what I was really desperate to see in the early years. So yeah, it's awesome. So at the Conscious Life Festival, basically consists of exhibitors, about 80 exhibitors. They're indoors and outdoors, so the venue's indoors, and then we also take all the land by the lake. So we've got all the big marquee stands outside, and the music's outside, and foodies. So the foodies, we do cater for the whole range of vegan, vegetarian, dairy-free, gluten-free, clean food, juices, etc. Unfortunately, we don't have hot chips.
Like I said, open heart, open mind.
Yeah, well, I have to practice what I preach, and it's all about conscious living and health and well-being. So I have to abide by that. And then we've got so there is an entry fee of just $10. It's always been $10 for 10 years. Actually, probably the first year was $5, and then it's $10, and it's been like that for 9 years. Weekend tickets $15, and a lot of people buy them so they can come back because they can't get through everything. But for that, then you actually have got your hands on a weekend program of back-to-back speakers. So we've got 3 workshop seminars areas and a meditation. There's 4 areas. Oh, and the kids are over there in a tent. So we've got 4 areas of back-to-back speakers, and people are like, oh my God, who do I see? And they like planning their day. So we do release the program. I'm just finalizing it at the moment. And we'll release it all on Facebook and the newsletter and the website, so people can plan their weekend. So we've got presenters running workshops and talks, and the meditations are upstairs in the venue away from everything. And we've got things like sound healing and lots of different types of meditation. So we try and vary the talks and workshops so we don't have 2 of the same. But I literally get inundated with applications, and I could fill my program 3 times over. And it's heartbreaking because I can't accommodate everyone. And I have to look after my stand holders who want to have a talk to further expose them, but then I also have other speakers as well. So yeah, so it's people come for the whole day. Some people come in for an hour or two, and then all the stands are, you either got your hands-on healers or your practitioners. You've got kinesiologists. You've got people selling products. You've got your crystals. Anything that basically promotes health and well-being, consciousness, environment. We're passionate about environment and sustainable, eco-friendly, chemical-free, freedom, truth, pro-choice, all of it, all encompasses all of it. So actually really does attract lots of different businesses, which is great, because some people come and go, oh wow, it's such a good variety. And we don't allow more than 2 of the same product, or in some cases only one, like you've got your Young Living or doTERRA. We only allow 1 of each, you know. So yeah.
I have actually a couple of my previous guests presenting and have stalls. So Michelle Eccles, Meditation Sunshine Coast.
Meditation, yes. She's got a stand and she's running a meditation. Yeah,
she does. And Katie Kay, resident psychic medium.
Yes, yeah. We've got readers as well. It's not classed as a psychic event. I used to run the Discovery Expo, which was more focused on the whole spiritual, metaphysical, had heaps of psychic readers to that. But just because I knew that I had to just run one big event a year to open up me to work on other exciting projects, had to merge them both.
Mm-hmm.
So we've still got the psychic readers because people love the readers. We've got probably about 10 maximum. So yeah, and they get booked out. Like we don't do pre-bookings for those, but they get booked out, and it's really buzzy in the atmosphere around that area is really cool. But KDK has been with me maybe 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And so can you book in a healing? Can you book in, or are you just coming to see who they are?
Yeah, I've looked at these and tried to change things up, and looked at my festival, and I just want it to be easy. People just come, they turn up, they just book who they want to see. The readers, everyone always gets a booking. It's never an issue, even with the hands-on healing or Reiki, or they just go to the stand and they liaise with the stand holder and they book in. Yeah, it's really easy.
I think it's really wonderful for people. I get a lot of people come into my healing room who are new to spirituality, are curious, wanting to liaise with someone. And as you know, it's a very wide modality, spirituality. The word, is
so much.
It's big and expansive. And so I always say to them, just follow your curiosity. Follow the excitement that you feel in your heart, because that is directing you where you need to go, because it can be an overwhelming space.
I was just about to say, it's extremely overwhelming. And there's so many people and so much information. Someone that's new on their journey could go, oh my God, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do it. No, you don't. You choose one thing, you look at it, does it resonate? Do you feel comfortable putting that into practice? Then move on to something else. But I would always start with quietening the mind and listening to what you're being told, because we all have the capacity. It's whether or not we use it. And the more we listen and the more we action, the more it will come through, and the more it will be part of your life as that inner guidance. Absolutely.
And the healing that you require to come through will come through in whatever way, whatever form, wherever you choose to go, whatever workshop you choose to go and do, or guest speaker you need to listen to. Your messaging, your signs and symbols will always come through. So I don't think you can ever make a wrong choice as long as your intention is to receive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what's so exciting about it.
Yeah, this is how I live my life too. I feel, if it doesn't feel right, I don't do it. If it feels good, I go with it. And that's even with people, or accepting things like an interview or whatever. I just feel it. I can't explain it. But everyone has the capacity, like I said, you know.
The same thing happened with me. I think Katie Kay mentioned, I was on a Facebook Live with Katie Kay. She mentioned she was coming down and mentioned your name. And straight away, my feeling was reach out to Laura and invite her on to your podcast. So I think you mentioned the word awareness, and I use the word intuition. So I think whatever it is, a feeling for you, and I love before we started the recording, you mentioned just following your awareness, listening and feeling into what feels right for you. Like that is the best way to actually just follow your intuition. And I love how you mentioned that when you do that things happen for you easily, and it feels like you're in flow.
And what that does then is it gives you confidence, because in the early days, I doubted myself a lot about what I was hearing, especially with the gifts that were coming through, the mediumship gifts. And I was like, what is this? And then when I was sharing information to people, they were like, how on earth did you know that? I'm like, first of all, it started with the confidence to share, because I could have felt like I could have been ridiculed or like been like, what are you talking about? But I did, because I knew that I had to share that information. When I did, they were like, how on earth did you know that? I'm like, I'm just being told it. And because of it, the validation gave me the confidence to share and to keep sharing. I mean, I'm not here to be a clairvoyant and to do me. That's probably another life that I had. I'm not here to do that. It just serves me well in this life and on my journey. But it's the same with the awarenesses and the intuition. The more you follow it, the more confidence you get, and the more knowing, and the more you use it. You know, it's
So with a lot of people that I talk to and work with, we understand what intuition is. We understand being guided. How did that show up for you? Like mediumship is next level. How does that show up for you every day?
Yeah. So with the intuition, I was obviously born with it, because I was, like I said to you, I was called a know-it-all. And I didn't understand why they were saying that. It was hurtful, because I did know things, but it was like an automatic knowing. So I've always had it my whole life. I always felt different. I've never felt like I belong here. English belong. I always felt different. I still do. I still look up at the stars and feel very alone at times, you know. But so I can't really tell you how that looks, because it's that absolute knowing. But also I hear, but I feel in here, and it feels right, and I feel energy as well. So I can't, it's just normal for me. With the mediumship, what I do is I see images in my head, so I could be seeing you, but in front of me in my head, I'm seeing images of people, but I'm being told, and I'm being shown images, close-up images or symbols, and being told stuff very clear. You know, like your imagination. So I have a really strong imagination. I'm very creative. So even if I'm talking to you, I can start seeing images. You know, if you were explaining to me that you're on holiday and you're describing it, I would be seeing it in my head. I mean, that's quite normal for creative people.
Yes.
That's how I see messages as well. They come in like that as well. And also in the energy work, when I sit on my own, I get told I'm hearing things. But then I focus on working with energy, clearing energy, bringing a lot of love through to me. That's what I've been doing a lot for a few months. But visualizing, I'm actually in control. So I visualize what I want to create in my life. And it's like I actually put myself in that situation. So I'm feeling the emotion of that experience, because that's how you manifest into your life.
Yes.
You feel and breathe and smell and put yourself in that, because it doesn't know the difference of reality and not, and that's how you manifest.
Thank you for sharing that. No, I love that.
There a little bit, didn't we?
Well, you wouldn't know. I actually work a lot. What I focus on is around manifesting. So the fact that has come up and that you're explaining your experience is fantastic, because
I've not done any courses, Kay.
but that's okay.
I've done a Reiki course about 10 years ago, but I've always been advised, or my awareness is not to do anything and to do my own stuff. So with the visualization and manifesting, no one told me. I didn't read it. I didn't do a course. It was what was shown to me of how to do that.
And I think that is the most powerful way to learn, is to trust your own nudges, your own. I love that, because I get asked a lot, well, what kind of healing do you do? And I just say, I just channel. I just follow my guidance, and it doesn't have a name, but it works. Yep. So I love that that's what you're sharing with us right now, because it's mirroring my own experience. And you also mentioned that when your mum passed away, that was when everything started to open up for you. And I had a similar experience when my grandmother passed away, who I was very close to. That was the impetus for my
awakening.
Yep.
I've just gone all goosebumpy.
Yep. To the next level, to the point that I feel like she is orchestrating all of this.
Oh, yes. So that's what I said to you. It was like my soul contract with my mum.
Yes.
When she was alive, we had some really powerful telepathy together. She shared me experiences when she was a child that she had to shun down because it wasn't normal. But I wasn't brought up with us. I mean, she used to say, she was quite intuitive and tell me that who to watch out for, or who she didn't like, or whatever. But it wasn't saturated. So it was almost like a soul contract that when she passed away, I did have an actual amazing experience with her before she passed away. It was something I'll never forget. But most of the time it was the telepathy between us. Even the distance from Australia to where she lived in France, it was profound. So it was like the soul contract. She passed on. It was like mine was then my journey. It was literally overnight.
And so
like I said to you, I would never, working in corporate, in architecture, and fast pace of life, running around England on projects and everything, I would never have predicted that I would be sitting here doing this. I mean, I know things, but I don't know everything.
Me neither. I never thought I'd be a healer.
But it was the catalyst from her passing and other things that actually happened before that as well. There was a few life situations that led. It was like the universe was kicking me. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my
it's
gosh.
Okay.
It's
all good. You manifested it. We were talking about it at the beginning, remember?
I'm surprised we've only had one phone call come through. My phone's on silent, but Facebook Messenger, I'm surprised we've only had one, so we're quite lucky. But what I was just about to say was,
it's like the phone call was like, get back on track, ladies.
That's what it was. The situation, circumstances that led me up to my awakening was, it's time now for you, kick up the arse, basically. This is what we're going to do. Trauma, this, that, grief, everything. For you to wake up and to go on your journey.
And here's the thing, we don't have to hit rock bottom or experience a trauma to awaken. It can happen.
I wish I hadn't.
I know.
I had to do that, to go through that, but I wish that I had found it, like you're saying, as just me going, okay, actually I'm going to just explore and see what else is there, rather than actually having to go rock bottom and to go through that,
Yeah.
And the thing is, our journeys don't ever stop. So even in the last 2 years, I've been in a really low place myself. I've gone through divorce and other things, and I have hit rock bottom in the last 2 years. COVID last year, my business is events. No income for the year, no events, no work, pretty much. Divorce, lots of different things, and I have really experienced a really low place. But, and another story just quickly is, 18 months ago, I really hit rock bottom. I have no family here, just me and my eldest son moved back to England about 18 months ago, so he moved. It was just me and my youngest son, and I did really go into a very, very low, dark place. Beautiful friends around me, but when you're in that dark space, you don't want to see anyone. So I wouldn't see people for days. I would be on my own, and not wanting to see anyone, and not trying to put on a smile and to be happy, especially when you're that low. And I went into the doctors about something else, and she took one look at me, and she looked at me and said, "How are you, Laura?" And I just burst into tears. She said, "Oh my God." She wanted to refer me to a psychologist and probably put me on medication and everything. And I refused. I said, "No, I'm going to get myself out of it." And I did. And I went into my space and meditated or done my energy work. And because I was that determined, and the intention. So intent for me is number one as well as listening to awareness. Intent. That is the key. Because my intention was to get myself out of this. It took me about 8-10 weeks of doing work, and I got myself out of it. And I was at a really low place, and my family in England were really worried about me. They were on the phone going, "We've never ever seen you like this." Like, I lost so much weight from stress, and probably on the verge of depression, to be fair. I have suffered depression in my early 20s, so I know, and I know the signs. So yeah, we have got the power. If you're strong enough and you're determined and you've got the intention, you can overcome everything and anything. I don't know why
I applaud you for leaning into your tools, because that's what you did. You knew that your tools would get you through it, and it really is that this is why we do all this, is because when we're struggling, this is what's going to help us to overcome our struggles or rise through them, rather than just survive through them. So well done to you for being able to.
And I suppose I share that because to show the power of what we are, the powerful humans that we are, because there's so much help out there for us, but I don't ask for help. I mean, I'm starting to. That's one of my issues. I've got some issues there. I understand my issues and that control and everything, but it just I don't ask for help, and I didn't ask for help when I knew that I could get myself out of it, and I did. And I suppose I just shared that to show how powerful we are and what the ability that we have if we really put our mind to it.
We are so powerful. Our thoughts can transform our life.
Wow.
It's our thoughts, our words, our actions. And when we pay attention to those, we don't even have to be spiritual to experience profound change in our lives. It's as simple as that.
It's awareness. It's not even being spiritual. It's about being aware.
Correct. And so who are some of the individuals that we can expect to see and guest speakers at your event in a few weeks?
Look, we've got our huge program. I've got oh my gosh, I'm just looking at the program now. We've got whole mindfulness meditations, we've got sound healers, we've got so Lou Van Stone is an amazing musician. So she's on a healing journey. That's amazing. Look, I don't want to start picking names out because I can't tell you all the names. I don't want to feel like I'm kind of favouring anybody. But we've got Annie Clark. So Annie Clark's quite well known on the coast. She's got anxiety and how to treat it. I've got Rating Byrne coming. This is who I am becoming. She's running a seminar. I've got Karen Smith. We've got Anne Gibson. Anne Gibson is the microgreens lady, powerful lady that does all the microgreens. So she's been with me for a few years. So she's going to do the microgreens workshop. Sandy Forrester, money manifesting workshop. I've got George Cavassalis. I've got Paul Williamson doing past life regressions. I've got Jackie doing living by numbers. I've got Paul Sales, who's a business partner of Mark Ryan, who is doing about the Great Reset. It's trying to do a mixture of what's happening globally as well at the moment about pro-choice and freedom. I've got Alona Lan, who I'm also collaborating with on the Sunshine Coast's first Freedom Day Fest. We're collaborating together, and we're just organising the first Sunshine Coast Freedom Fest. So she's going to be talking about what's happening at the moment globally. I've got lots of people. Christine Mordy, musicians. I'm just looking there. Yeah, I mean, Keen Buckley, Healthy Relationships. Keen's known as well on the. I've got Pane doing some work on. I think he's doing like digital gateway. So there's to meetings and path progression, and I've got Irina Webster who's doing intuitive healing. Like, yeah.
That sounds wonderful. And what about for the kids? What kind of activities can the kids partake in?
Yeah, so for the whole 10 years, I used to run a tent where I'd have different facilitators coming in and running lots of different workshops. For this year, we're going to have a lovely lady called Julie Prettyman coming, and she's actually going to manage the tent for 2 days, and she actually specialises in children work of this nature, and she's going to do some kaleidoscopes and some activities that she runs. This is actually what she does for kids and families. So she's going to set up in the tent and run these activities back to back the whole weekend. And again, we just there'll be posts on the Conscious Life Festival website. Sorry, the Conscious Life events, but also the Facebook page. We will be heavily promoting we have been doing the speaker, some information on the speakers, but we'll actually put the program up probably, hopefully by the end of next week.
Awesome. That sounds so awesome. And what I will do is I will gather those links from you, and I will share them in the show notes and across all the platforms that we advertise this video, and just make it easy for people to find their way. It's being hosted, a lot of my community is Sunshine Coast based. So for you, if you are interested in going along, it's being hosted at Kawana, and which is
like a venue 114,
yeah, so the southern end of the Sunshine Coast. So go and have a look. It'll be tremendous. I'm planning to come out, so I'm looking forward to got to visit my mates and support them, and my
you know what, and it's and what I was going to say was there's so many people that have moved to the coast in the last year from Melbourne and Sydney, etc. Like, this is the perfect event to meet like-minded people. Like,
it is.
I mean, awesome. Like, and it's been quite, there's, with obviously COVID restrictions, there's not been many in-person events, and I refused to do an online event because there were so many last year, and I went, I will just be patient, because to me, being in person, being around people, the energy is amazing. You can't beat it. So I've been very patient. And I know there's so many people that can't wait to be attending this and to be around.
There'll be a lot of people craving this sort of connection as well, I think.
And I think it's also the people that are just on their journey and just starting up, that are looking for more. Perfect.
I think too, my eldest daughter, if you're into healthy eating, she's as soon as I tell her that she's going to be like, I have to go.
Awesome. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Laura, for joining me. I really do appreciate you coming on and chatting to me about the festival.
Thank you.
I know you shared with me that interviews aren't your thing. I really do feel that you did an amazing job.
Thank you so much. And
I really enjoyed our chat
with you. Yeah, no, thank you. I don't really do any of these. So yeah, thank you. It's been awesome. Thanks so much for the opportunity.